Hello. Hi.
Hello.
Phyllis. Hello. Is it Noor? Lovely. I can see you've got your camera
Yeah,
turned.
thank you very
Hey. Hi. I'm Phyllis. Oh, lovely. It's great when people actually speak back.
much.
The light off is amazing. So, yeah, it's feedback. Great. Just let me check. Is anyone else waiting to get in? How are we all doing today?
Fabulous. How are you, Phyllis?
I'm good.
And how are you?
I am very busy, very busy.
Good. It'll keep you out of trouble.
It does. I go to bed exhausted. I'm not gonna lie. That's good though. You're best when you're busy, Jules.
Yes, all of us. It feeds the soul. It does.
Absolutely. All right. I
Yeah.
have to remind myself to keep my eye on the participants list in case anyone joins
Okay.
once we've got started. We'll wait for a few more minutes. Phyllis, it's great that you've got your camera on. Thank you for doing that. It's lovely to see a face, at least one.
Yes.
Yeah, great. Would
Awesome.
you like to introduce yourself and say, why you've joined the webinar today?
Well, I saw something that Jules had posted about it on LinkedIn, and I thought, this involves teaching. That's what I do. I'm going to chime in. Why not join?
Absolutely. Why not? I love that attitude. That's awesome.
Yes.
It is. And we got another face. I see some more people. Come on.
I know. Thank you. Would you like to introduce yourself, Noah?
Hello, I am from Turkey. My name is Nur, and I am a mechanical engineer.
Nice.
And I don't know. I am just I found out. Um, Sorry, I just forget the Eventbrite. I find it Eventbrite this event. So I just want to come here and look around, just something like that.
Great. Have you been to one of our sessions before, Noor?
I didn't session. No, this is my first time.
Okay, right. Wonderful. Well, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask any time. Or if you want to write something down in the chat, then we'll get to them at the end as well.
Okay, thank you very much.
I know a few people who are looking forward to the recording because they aren't able to make it to the live webinar. So I think we can get started. All right, lovely. As you can see, I've got two screens, so I'm looking in two different places. Okay, so hello, I'm Lorraine. I am joined by Jules today, and I'll introduce you to her in just a second. The theme of today's webinar is the international workforce and specifically challenges that people are facing. So we're a purpose-driven organization, Intrepid English, and I have a massive passion for this field. So does Jules. So we're going to really get into the details today. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what a purpose-driven organization is, in case you don't know, and outline some challenges that are facing leaders of purpose-driven organizations, as well as leaders in general. Then we're going to talk about the future of an organization and why it's important to have and communicate a purpose. And then we will talk, Jules will talk to us about employee engagement and course participation, because we offer a corporate English course. Okay, so I'll be talking about lots of data and research today. I'll be sharing a document after the webinar I'll send out the recording and a list of all the websites and sources in case you're interested in doing a little bit of further reading. Okay. And as I said, please feel free to write your questions in the chat box and I'll get to them, well, when I see them, essentially. And Jules can dive in as well if there's anything that's under her specialty. All right. So, who am I? I'm Lorraine, and I am the founder of Intrepid English. Intrepid English is a purpose-driven English school. We're completely online, so we don't teach any face-to-face lessons. And we've got 14 teachers in 6 different countries now. It started in 2013, so we're nearly 10 years old. We'll be 10 in October. And now our teachers are based in the UK predominantly, but also France, Mexico, New Zealand, Egypt, and the USA. So that's a little summary of us. One important thing about Intrepid English is that we donate 6% of our revenue to 3 different charities. One is to help youth homelessness, one is for refugees, and another one is to help unemployed women here in the UK have training and clothing to find a new job. We also volunteer our time and teach those unemployed ladies English if they need it, if they're non-native English speakers. Jules, you are joining me today from Seattle. Yes. You're a senior program manager with 15 years experience. Would you like to introduce yourself a little bit and say who you've worked for?
Yes, I would love to. So I have a fun-filled, expansive career, and some of the most recent employers that I've worked with are Meta, the U.S. government, healthcare, and universities across the U.S. I've gotten to move across the U.S. and build up different divisions in hospitals as well as startup clinics and really transform an organization. The coolest thing about all of that is the culture, the different, human capital that I got to embrace and also grow for the different organizations and the local communities as well as that global niche right there. But I love taking any kind of place, starting from an initial foundation or one that is, crippling and falling apart, and really asking employees what is going on, how can we make them invested into the business? Because when we get our employees to be invested in us, they'll, it's a two-way street right there. It is absolutely amazing when you can see people come to life, especially when you're working with individuals who might struggle with English in, like, say, the U.S. One also thing that I'm super excited about this program and working with Intrepid English is the advancements that people will get. I have personally witnessed employees who are brilliant. I mean, exceptional minds, right? They can do great things for revolutionizing the workforce, but they have limited English. And so, having Lorraine, talk to me about this, coming on and helping here, like, I cannot wait, because these individuals will not only gain confidence, they'll grow their career, and they'll impact so many lives, as well as our culture. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you. Yeah, you've already taught me so much, Jules. So I yeah, isn't that great?
It is.
I have a lot of experience of speaking to the individuals, to the employees themselves, people who, honestly, the main complaint that they have is that Monday morning feeling of dread, or even Sunday night feeling of dread, where they've got to go to work, but they don't have the English skills that they need. So they're basically sort of faking or, dealing with a lot of anxiety, pretending that they've got it all under control, but feeling quite confused, stressed, and that's not sustainable, is it? It's not a healthy position to be in. And many of them, think I'm going to look for another job. But the thing is, these days, almost every international organization requires English. The thing is, they can often learn to love their job when they learn English, because that's the barrier. That's the thing that's really causing them the stress. Moving to another company would just be transporting that stress to another company. So oftentimes they come to me when they are ready to tackle this issue. They're ready to learn English, and it's like a whole new world is open up to them. Obviously, they're able to speak English enough to do their job, but not well enough to do their job well. So after a while of talking to so many students who find this difficult situation constantly, I decided, right, it's time that we actually work with the organizations, because they should be providing this English training. And that's what the inspiration was behind the program that I'm going to talk to you about today. Okay, so before we go any further, I'd like to ask you some questions. Now, if you bear with me, I'm going to try and make the poll work. No. Aha, could you see a pop-up? Yeah, nice. Okay, so these are anonymous questions, just to get a sense of, where you guys are, and how you feel about these topics. So the first question, if you wouldn't mind answering this, is how important is professional development to you? So number 1 would be not important at all, and number 5 would be extremely important. Okay, and then the next question is, how often does your organization provide opportunities for you to attend professional development courses? So the organization that you work for, if you're a freelancer, the question would be like, how often do you have the opportunity, really? Is that available to you? Okay, so number 1 would be never. You never attend development courses. Okay. Number 5 would be all the time. I love attending these courses, and I join them whenever I can. Interestingly, a lot of places don't even train staff when they join. When they join the company, the staff do not get the proper training. They don't get the proper support. So, that is a real problem. Mm-hmm.
One of the biggest ones to overcome too is, even when organizations, they establish a good framework, they don't hold it accountable to actually arrive at it, to complete it. And that's another really positive thing about your program with the commitment contract that I celebrate you for that, because we also need to hold our leadership accountable, that we need to create that time and make sure that our staff, managers, frontline, they go to it, they attend it, because it is enriching. We are providing it. That is the cornerstone. Yes, we get busy, but we've carved out that hour at that specific framework to accomplish this.
That's a really good point, Jules. Yeah, so many students, learning English online, okay, you've got every different kind of English teacher, from someone who's offering free lessons, free videos on YouTube, which we do as an organization, by the way. We've got more than 600 videos on YouTube. But you can have a teacher charging literally £1 or $1 per lesson. And then all the way up to, I've seen freelancers charging up to £90 per hour for a lesson, just for 1 hour. There's no strategy there. There's no, accountability, Jules, to use your favorite word. So there's, there's a real mixed bag. Anyone can go online and find a teacher to fit their budget, let's say. But accountability is the thing. If you're learning anything, or if you're in a journey of any kind, you need to feel like, there's a destination. You've got some goals. you know what to do next. And, you know, it really helps when there are people going, have you done that thing? Have you done the thing yet? So that's a really important thing. Yeah, definitely. Okay, question 3 was, have you ever missed out on a career opportunity due to lack of English language skills yourself? And finally, have any of your current or former colleagues missed out on career opportunities due to the lack of English skills? You've definitely worked with people before, Jules, haven't you? Where English has just made all of the difference to, well, their life really, as well as their career.
Yes, and complaints and customer service. I mean, it's a full circle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, great. Let's see if we got these questions. Oh, lovely. I'm looking at the results here. Okay, fantastic. That's really interesting for me to know. I'm going to end the poll there and share the results. So if you're interested, yeah, professional development is very important to all of us. Yet, it's often not something that is a priority for employers, unfortunately. Okay, does your organization, right, that's a never. Okay, sometimes, okay, yeah, but not as many courses or opportunities as you would like in any case. Okay, missing out on career opportunities. Okay, that's good. Nobody here, well, not many of us here have missed out on an opportunity. And former colleagues, yes. The majority of us know somebody, have worked with somebody who has been held back in their career because of their lack of English skills. Yeah. Excuse me. All right. Thank you for completing that, everyone. So, moving on. We're going to talk about the main theme of today, which is the international workforce, and very quickly have a bit of a summary of the last few years. As we all know, COVID-19 changed almost every kind of landscape, especially the landscape of work. You've probably heard of the Great Resignation or Great Attrition. So if you haven't, the Great Resignation is the large number of people who resigned or quit from their job. And the Great Attrition describes a huge number of people who moved to different companies. Attrition, by the way, is something from a business owner's perspective is a huge drain on cash because it's very expensive to hire and train new and recruit new staff members. People reassessed their work and their work-life balance during COVID. And in 2021, there was a study released by Gallup that said globally, only 20% of employees were engaged, which is a phenomenally low figure. Only 20% of employees felt driven and motivated at work. And in the US, more than 50 million Americans changed their jobs in 2022. And you would think that is, that was a huge shift when we were all going in and out of lockdown at various times. But that trend has continued since 2020. In 2023, it's almost the same number of people resigning or moving to different jobs. It's a huge flux going on. And currently, this year, 208 million unemployed people globally. So COVID has really sort of transformed the way that staff view their employers as well. Many people were let down during COVID. They maybe lost loved ones or, had a real difficulty with childcare or even, mental health burdens during the lockdowns that many of us experienced. And huge swathes of people decided they couldn't trust their employer anymore, and they needed to move to a different situation. Unfortunately, a lot of them moved to a different situation, which wasn't much better. And there have been mass layoffs across industries, specifically in the US, in the tech industry. And Jules, you were one of those people, weren't you, when you were working for Meta?
I fall into two of your categories. In 2022, I changed my job. I was in healthcare. I got recruited by Meta. And then, I got to be part of one of the largest, tech layoffs in history as we know it at this point in time. That's why I'm like, kind of fascinating, but and so, you have a ton of people. We have a lot of things to change.
And it's become almost normal in a way. I mean, the level, the vast number of people who've been laid off, I mean, that is remarkable. But layoffs themselves, redundancies, especially since COVID, it's like hardly that remarkable anymore, unfortunately. And that's just not.
Well, and if you go back, like we were talking about just the other day, which is going to lead up to a different point, I believe that you're going to make. Since the 1980s, right? You have people who went into organizations, spent 20 to 40 years of their life with them. They retired with them. The 80s came around, and I can't remember exactly who it was, but they decided to make it more efficient. And so they started terminating people. People lost their retirement. Then you had the different, Generation X growing out of that, time period, and losing trust in organizations. I'm going to go in for me, not you. I watched my parents fall apart. So you have all this stuff, so that engagement. We've been slowly getting it back, but then we keep taking these, hits in the wrong direction. So I love the fact that you're introducing this, that we have a lot of people looking towards those great things that you're going to talk about soon. And as a global, culture, we're rising above the bar of what the past used to be. And I'm gonna let you talk about all that. But I'm stoked.
No, I love your passion, Jules. And it comes from firsthand experience as well, unfortunately. But we've talked a lot about this. In fact, you were the one who sent me the quote that I'm gonna bring up now from Simon Sinek. Mass layoffs, using someone's livelihood to balance the books. I don't know if that hits home for anyone else, but that's exactly it. Companies like Meta, Microsoft, Google, all the ones that are laying people off, seem to be looking at it like it's a statistic rather than actual people and their lives and their, futures and their children's future.
But that's where you get to have this amazing thing where you're bringing in the knowledge and the data, like Senek is, and you're going to show them where they took a step that was not in the wrong direction, and we could be part of the process of healing together. If they want to partner with you to truly remind their employees who they currently have and are looking to recruit, we made a mistake. We've accepted it, and now we're partnering with these great organizations that want to create a good footprint to let you know you matters. That's where, like I said, that's where you come into play, to partner with Meta, to partner with Google, to partner with even the smaller organizations. But those are the bridges that you are right now developing, and it's an exciting time.
I think that, I hope so. I hope that there is a shift in the way that people's, lives and their careers are valued more. That's one of the many goals that I have, isn't it? Excuse me. So Simon Sinek mentioned that it's become so common that it's just another economic tool. But individuals and organizations are very, the individuals have real lives, and this has a very real impact on them. And especially in the younger generations as well, we're asking the youngest generations to come to work, often in toxic or not secure companies or roles. And they're choosing not to. They're choosing not to join these workforces that are toxic. They're choosing not to buy into that. And there is a huge shift now because of that.
Which makes me so proud of our younger generation.
Yeah, me too. Absolutely. Yeah, for not standing up for it. But it makes sense, because of the many challenges that we're facing as a globe. There's a dissonance when young people are consuming the news, understanding all these almost insurmountable challenges that we're all facing, and then they go to a 9-to-5 job selling cars or, calling people to get into debt, and it's like there's a disconnect there. And so many of them are saying, no, that's enough. I want to do something about these things. I want to feel like I'm actually helping people and making a change. So organizations, Simon Sinek says, need to start practicing empathy and relate to what these younger people are going through, because this will profoundly change the decisions we make. And I hope that some of you here will have seen examples of that already, of companies starting to wake up a little bit and realize their role, their duty to pay. Okay, leaders need to take a human-focused approach. Okay, so leadership challenges. Attracting top talent on the left and retaining existing staff on the right. Two major challenges globally now that leaders are contending with, especially at the moment because there's such massive fluctuations in the job market. And as job seekers are becoming increasingly younger, it's all evolving. The hiring tactics, even the way that job vacancies are shared these days, it's all changing very quickly. When attracting top talent, a competitive salary is important. That's what we all work for at the end of the day, but it's no longer enough. And there was a survey last year by IBM of more than 22,000 employees. And it found that 71% of high potentials, and if you want a definition of that, then I'll send out the link a little bit later. They are attracted to job opportunities in which they will learn new skills. Okay, Gallup recently reported global companies that offer more than a paycheck, that offer meaning, purpose, and development, will eventually attract Europe's top talent. So, yeah, that applies to Europe, but it also applies to many other places in the world. And Forbes recently reported as well, organizations that pay well but still have a poor culture typically continue to lose top talent to their competitors. So two of the fundamental characteristics of roles that both attract top talent and retain those employees for the long term are opportunities to learn and a focus on meaningful work. Okay, so that's why young job seekers are searching for jobs with purpose-driven organizations. I don't know if you have heard these terms before. Purpose-driven organization. Yeah. Exactly, Jules. Sometimes known as purpose-led or values-led, ethical, values-driven, when companies have a policy of CSR, so corporate social responsibility. And when they're certified, when they've gone through the very, very long process of being certified as a purpose-driven organization, they hold B Corp status. And one of my friends went through this for more than a year and a half, and she is like, it is not for the faint-hearted. It is, you need to be really into this, you really need to feel the desire to do this. It will drive you through the very, very long-winded but excellent process. Okay, so all these labels signify a greater purpose at the core of everything that a business does. And I found a really, really great company, organization called Everfi. And actually yesterday, I went down a rabbit hole on their website. I was just so impressed by the work that they're doing. they're an organization that's really helping to change the purpose-driven organization landscape. And actually, he called me back today, and I got to chat with him on the phone, and he was just like, I noticed that you you downloaded some things from our website. And I was just like, that massive fan. So hopefully there'll be a possibility for us to collaborate later.
That is fantastic.
Yeah, I'll tell you all about that later, Jules. So they, on the top of their website in, prime position is this quote: "A cultural transformation has occurred in the last couple of decades and is now undeniable. Companies are now expected to assess, control, and leverage the impact they make in the world." Yeah. "It's no longer enough to be profitable. It's important to contribute to a sustainable planet and a fairer society. It is essential to have a purpose."
100%. I couldn't agree more.
Exactly.
And if I can't find that company to work for, I'm creating one.
Yeah, you are. This is the general theme. People agree. Exactly, Jules.
Oh, wait, I get to partner with you. So check mark that list. Done.
So Richard Branson, I'm not his biggest fan, honestly, but I really agree with this quote. "Doing good is good for business." Okay. So
Simple.
if doing the right thing is not a big enough motivator, and if climate change has told us anything, it's not, apparently, then there's a business case for having a purpose-driven organization. Let's take a look at the stats. So these are from a customer perspective. Okay. 64% of global consumers find brands that actively communicate their purpose more attractive. 62% want companies to take a stand on issues that they are passionate about. 52% say they are more attracted to buy from certain brands over others if these brands stand for something bigger than just the products and services it sells, which aligns with their personal values. And 74% of consumers believe companies can take action to both boost profits, okay, we're not ignoring the profits, but boost profits and improve economic and social conditions for their local communities, right? These are not small figures. These are significant. So that's from the customer perspective. Now let's have a look from the hiring perspective. Okay, these stats are also from FFI, my new favorite organization, as of yesterday. Excuse me. Purpose-driven companies are 90%. Purpose-driven companies see employee motivation and loyalty. 70% would not work for an organization that didn't have a solid purpose. Okay, 95% of all employees believe that stakeholders should benefit from a company's success, including the community. Of course, the surrounding community is a stakeholder. Jeff Bezos, paying your taxes. And 60% would choose to earn less in order to work for a purpose-driven company. But of course, with the evolution that we're talking about, hopefully they won't have to choose to take that pay cut in order to work for a company that they're passionate about. So now that we've established the consumer trends and the impacts of attracting and retaining new hires, high potential, diverse talent, these are really, really positive figures, and it is very, very difficult to see why organizations do not, at the very least, build donations, revenue-based donations into their business model like we have, at the very least. If not, really drive towards a bigger purpose. Okay. The overall purpose motivates a stronger customer engagement and leads to lower employee churn and higher margins. All of the things, all of the reasons why purpose is important. But as I said before, people often like to stay, well, they don't like change, or they see it as difficult, or maybe they just want to stick with the traditional profit-driven model. So what are the consequences of doing nothing? There's a fantastic report by McKinsey that came out last year about human capital. Jules, if you haven't read it already, you will love it. It's a big one, but it's definitely worth reading. So human capital, for those who don't know, human capital is the accumulation or the total, really, of expertise, education, knowledge and work experience that an individual gains over the course of their young life and their career. Okay. Including all of the professional development courses that they do, as well as high school, university, and all of the little skills that they gain through working in one job or various jobs throughout the career. And this report really shines a light on the consequences of not doing anything in this regard. Okay. 80% of job moves in the world over the last few years have been to new companies because, like I said before, the employees want to develop, but if their employers are not giving them those opportunities, they have to move to another company. And this is a huge missed opportunity by those companies. The companies themselves then have to recruit temporary staff, as we've seen in the health service here in the UK over recent years. Temporary staff are much more expensive than providing the training to the existing employees. Phyllis, I see you nodding here as well. Yeah. Of course, then when there's people leaving en masse, there's huge staff turnover, motivation drops, people are having to do the job of 2 or 3 different people, and the remaining staff statistically earn a lot less during the course of their career. And the big one, which is costing companies trillions every year, absenteeism or sickness, or people not coming to work because of stress or illness, or all of the many other reasons why people need to stay off work. It's obviously not sustainable. So yeah, check that report out.
One thing that I loved was when I worked for a hospital in West Virginia, they had a nurse that injured patients, and so the local community lost trust in the organization, and we were doing this rebrand, right? But the doctors, and it hits every single one of these points. The doctors, the RNs, the NPs, they would hide in different rooms so that you couldn't find them to see their patients, right? And I was going around knocking on doors like, we've got these scheduled patients, you've got to see them, let's talk about this. And I loved it when our, associate chief of staff told them at a, staff meeting, hey, I can't give you, elective time off right now because we're understaffed. We need you here. We have a huge backlog. But if you call out sick, well, I have to approve it. And I was just like, oh my gosh, what are you talking about here? And in a few months' time of me being there, I think they had rescheduled over 3,000 patients because of high turnover, absentee rates. And then one of the temporary, chiefs that they brought in to oversee the whole hospital had the exact same conversation I had with the associate chief of staff. You've got to sit down with your people. This is no longer acceptable. But the thing is there's so much turmoil. Nobody was talking to the current people to find out what they needed. And that's where all these points hit. And that human capital really comes into play. You've got to talk to the people who are there to support you. And then again, you grow. So just that, one of those fun moments.
Yeah. And one of the things that has become a specialty for you then now over your career, it's creating and maintaining and developing scalable teams and organizations.
Well, teams, yes.
There we go. Nice segue there. Okay, Jules, do you want to talk about this?
Oh yeah, definitely. All right, so one of the things that I absolutely love is creating sustainable workforces, organizations, because as it states right here, you develop the whole person. When you look at an organization and you only see them as, the brick and mortar, the systems that create the components, the networks, the big area that you're always most often overlooking is the people that do the job. They bring in a whole toolbox of issues to the conversation well before they even looked at the work systems, right? You have your home systems, the issues in society. But this is where, like I said, I got to work with Meta on looking at their issues. I got to work with the U.S. government. And I got to create a humanized work system. It's my specialty now. And that's how you create sustainable, scalable organizations. So one of the biggest ones is empowered employees, okay? And employee-centric policies, creating the brand ambassadors. When you have an employee excited about work, they leave the workforce, they go and talk about you in the local communities, on the global ones, on social networks. They do the talking for you, and you don't have to do anything. But you put in the effort to create them, to develop them, and you encourage them to grow past you. They're going to put people back and feed that system to you. You want to go to this organization, they're going to develop you. They're going to allow you to create that career funnel outside of them, and support that network of affiliate organizations that really thrive. So, the one area is, with what you're doing here is allowing organizations to develop people within their teams to be able to communicate their cultural differences, understand task delegation, and then to truly embrace the opportunities for conflict resolution, negotiation, and state, here's where I see the gaps in the policies, and I think we could do better here. That is why you want to be able to communicate at the same level. So the sustainable organization, as you know, it's going to have your, inclusivity, the communication, the recognition. So again, your employees can't get recognized if they can't communicate with you. And that is one of the biggest discourses right there. You want to be challenged, because when you are challenged, you find out those gaps. Like, one thing I've always taught leaders is how to help their employees hold them accountable. And at first they're like, why? I don't understand this concept. Well, when you have empowered employees, they aren't afraid to voice their concerns. There's no fear of that backlash. There's psychological safety, as shared earlier in your slides. You create that room for them to say, hey, I found this local and the global charity that we can work with for our CSR, that we can partner with, that we can build your footprint as the mission, the voice that you say you want to be. That is how we scale. We buy into the community, and the community buys into us. Plain and simple. The biggest crux of organizations is they have a fear towards the collaboration. If you think about school, we've all been to school. We all had to do teamwork assignments. And there's always that one guy who's got the name on the paper who didn't do anything, right? But you don't want to not put their name on there, because then you're going to have this tension, even though it's already there. And you're just like, oh, all right, let's call them Bob. But here it is. When you have, and I really do, I create this in every place I go. And it has been literally a lifesaver, because it does create a 95% stakeholder satisfaction. That is leadership, local communities, customers, and internal staff, right? I mean, it is powerful. But basically, in a nutshell, right, leaders want to lead. People are afraid to talk. How do we bridge that? Well, we're going to go to that area where we propel human contribution, creativity, accountability, there's my favorite word, and employee ownership. When you allow people to own their work, it is a game changer, because now they are responsible for not just their livelihood, but the organization, their teamwork, their team members. It's a whole dynamic right there. But you want to also teach employees right there on that regular basis. I say every 6 months, in-person or hands-on training with the active listening, conflict resolution, interpersonal communication, group decision-making, and that proactive change management. You need to do it every 6 months because you'll have new employees. The market will change. You're going to be shifting constantly. It's a living document, living experience. If you stay with this is how we've always done it, you are going to die very quickly in the market. No one's going to work with you. But then, yes, the other big one is to create the self-regulating teams. When you give those people the ownership, right, that accountability, what you're doing to make it truly successful, you allow them to know what kind of budget they have, what kind of projects they're going to be doing, and you let them assign the leader, but you shift that leader. So nobody is stuck leading and no one is, falling behind. That person, that guy named Bob, right, he's going to have to pay attention and contribute because in a few months, he's going to be leading the project. And when he didn't help on this one, and he's expected to lead it over here, and everyone's like, I'm going to resist you. It's going to hurt. So it's amazing what happens when you start talking. And then in those conversations, you find out your strengths, your weaknesses, and how to build both. So yeah, I can talk about all this for hours. So I know we're running out of time. But the other one that is really big, especially when you're talking about business English, is having verbal instructions. That's great, but you need to write it down. You need to have it documented on how to communicate concerns with team members, leaders, but also how-to guides. And, you can do that in various languages as people are learning to adapt to the English so that they can see the comparison and then grow from there and then have that competence. But yeah, it is one of the greatest things when you have everybody accountable to each other. It's not just themselves, but their little team, the organization. And then again, you're going to feed that organization sustainably because they're going to want their kids to go there. The local people, well, they took care of us. And look how happy these people are. They don't have to spend so much money on training. They're putting money into local community gardens, to libraries. There's so many things that you can do to really thrive and have a name that is worth saying in a room.
Wow. I'm nodding constantly. Yeah.
That's how you get that buy-in. Like I said, when I see a company like that, I cannot wait, to knock on the door and be like, hey, how do I get to work with you? That is the people, and it'll grow.
Yeah. I mean, on a global scale as well, like the example that comes to mind is Patagonia.
Yes.
Like there are queues around the block, metaphorically, of course, for people to work for Patagonia because they care about the world, their employees,
Yes. One of the questions on their application is, what are you doing for the environment? And I was like, well, man, I thought I was a good human, but apparently I have to improve on this because my footprint isn't good enough yet, right, for Patagonia to want to work and partner with me because I haven't done any extensive projects to save the earth, right? I'm like, well, I don't travel much. I take, public transportation as much as I can to reduce the carbon footprint. I do this, but I'm like,
not good enough for Patagonia. Sorry, Jules.
No,
you have to try harder.
One day they'll love me. That's all.
I know several people who have applied for jobs at Patagonia. Several. Yeah. It's like the only company that I can say that about. And they give away a crazy percentage of their profits.
Yeah, and their quality is, it is amazing quality. So on their, yeah, it's a great company. It is one of those that I have looked at. And like I said, I'll talk about them, even though they don't want to talk to me yet. I talk about how great they are because that is what they're doing. So
yeah, that's the same for individuals as well as organizations. If people will talk so enthusiastically about you when you're not in the room, then all of your problems are solved, basically. You don't need to look for business at all.
Yeah. So, that's what this course, though, that we're talking about today that's what it's going to do. And that's why I am excited. I'm on the outside coming in. This is an amazing company that you have created. And I can state too that even I had a jaw surgery in 2010 and I couldn't talk for almost a year, right? I was discriminated against. I couldn't speak. I spoke very little English, and I'm an American citizen. It's my native language. It took me 2 years to sound American. I had to go to speech therapy, and even now I have to articulate my words for you today with that relearning process. But I was treated differently when I could not speak proper English, and I even had a teacher tell me in my communication studies course in college, a observer in the class came up to him and said, "That girl over there, that mute girl, she speaks really well for being mute." So in my head, I thought I was talking really well, but I was struggling so much to pronounce my words, everything else, that I sounded like I was deaf. So
I had similar discrimination in Germany when I lived there as well. Yeah, I mean, people really did very rude often, when I was trying very hard. But that really informs my empathy, for people all over the world now who speak English as a second language.
Well, that's all right. Let me open the ears a little bit more so that I can hear you and that I can let you know I am listening.
And slow down. Yeah, exactly. So we talked about all these problems today, and I don't want to leave you on feeling so depressed. Okay, we've talked about all these challenges, and we've talked about the need to really absorb purpose into decision making for all of the reasons that we listed. Okay, and what can that purpose be? It can be anything. There are multitudes of causes. It's what the organization, the leaders feel passionate about, and listen to the employees to figure out what that is. There's no excuse for not having at least a small purpose focus in the organization. And basically this whole conversation, which has been going on within my company, within my circle of friends, within my family since 2020, it's really inspired me to do something about it. And that's why I've developed this program. It's called Employers Who Empower. And literally those two words just kept coming up throughout the talk so far. Employers Who Empower. We've listened to the students, we've listened to the individuals, the employees, and we've recognized that, a quote by Desmond Tutu comes to mind. You can only pull so many people out of the river before you need to go upstream and see who's pushing them in.
I'm so sorry. That's a great quote.
Right? It is so true though, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that's what this corporate program is really designed for. It's making a difference at the source. Helping organizations, fast growing organizations, to grow correctly, to grow sustainably, to grow in a right way. And conveniently, we can do that with English training. These are the areas that we brainstormed, and we really wanted to figure out the answer to these questions or these issues. We wanted one program that can increase a team's productivity, elevate their communication, improve employee retention, attract diverse talent, very important. And by diverse, I mean diverse, racially diverse, diverse in age, accessible for people with disabilities or hidden and otherwise, really diverse workforces, because it is proven that those workforces can speak to the customer base better than a homogenous workforce, which all kind of looks the same. Okay, we wanted to boost employee morale, enhance business skills, improve cultural awareness. I know this is ambitious. Reward great performance and drive sustainable company growth. So in the way that Jules mentioned earlier about, scaling sustainably. Okay. And we did it as a team. We managed to pull it all together. employers are empowered. So this is our new app, which I'm incredibly proud of and a little bit obsessed with. I can't stop playing with it. The app itself makes our materials accessible on any device, which is really helpful. Okay, we also have a range of different formats for our materials as well. We were able to increase productivity by focusing on the skills that the employees need to learn right now. Okay, they might need to present or negotiate in the near future. We'll help them with that. Okay, so it's not work and English, it's combined. So they, as we say, killing two birds with one stone. But I don't like that idiom. We wanted to focus on communication training. We're not just teaching English phrases. We're not just teaching verb tenses and other grammar. Okay, we're teaching people how to communicate in a compelling way. We're teaching people how to network and introduce themselves in a way that people remember. We're teaching people to present, not just to let people know about their product, but to convince them that it's what they need, if it is, of course, what they need. Employee retention. No longer will that 80% of people who are disillusioned with work have to leave to another company. Everyone's a winner in that case. Sometimes you don't need to completely change everything in order to fix the issues. It could be removing one massive barrier to help people to love their job again. Okay, diverse talent, accessible on all materials, as I mentioned, and improve employee morale. The number of students that say to me, I look forward to my English lesson every week. We have fun, but I learn so much, and I'm genuinely excited to implement what you've taught me in my job. So the course itself is 46 live online training sessions, and they include all kinds of training, not just on the skills, but also soft skills, awareness of topics that are really important today. And of course, if you are training the employees to have cultural awareness skills, then that is the inclusion part of diversity and inclusion. Okay, ticking all the boxes with diversity, it's not sustainable when people are hired, they're from a different background, but then they're ignored or their voice isn't heard. They don't feel like they belong in the team. Providing cultural awareness training enables conversations among colleagues, helps people to really work together and collaborate. And that's the inclusion part. That is so important and often overlooked, unfortunately. But of course, we've worked very hard on creating two really amazing programs, one for pre-intermediate level English learners and lower, and one for more advanced English learners. Both of them are CPD accredited, which means at the end of it, they get a beautiful certificate that they can show off online to their friends, print out and put it in a frame. That improves employee morale as well. It also helps them to build their business profile online and helps the company's profile to be improved online. And it gives them the reputation of a company that invests in its employees. And guess what? That helps them to attract better candidates. So it's all intersectional, the skills that we focused on really help one another. It's not in silo. And last year when we ran the course, the company that bought the most groups last year is a company called TDS, Technical Development Solutions, based in Saudi Arabia. And they found it so helpful that they invested in Intrepid English. So that really speaks volumes, I think. It's the first investment in 10 years that Intrepid English received. And yeah, we now have a board of directors helping us to grow sustainably and ethically and, properly, basically. So that's really phenomenal to have them on board now. It's really helped us level up. And here are our lovely smiley teachers. This is our team. We are all from different backgrounds. There you are, Jules. Hi. We're all from different backgrounds. We all have different experience. We all have different passions, which we bring to our teaching. And there's one thing that we have in common, and that's our mission to empower purpose-driven individuals and professionals and organizations. This is one thing that comes up in the interview when I hire teachers, like Patagonia, I guess. What are you doing to make the world a better place? What are you passionate about? What is your cause? Or what are your causes? Because I've got many. We are all driven to help organizations to communicate their purpose effectively and to teach their employees how to communicate that purpose effectively. And our company is very human focused, which is very meta, I suppose. But yeah, we really focus on the employees and professional development and having an open and honest environment, because we know that international collaboration requires international communication, and we see it every single day. I'm going to offer everyone the opportunity to ask a question now.
So you worked with, I guess your organization worked with healthcare organizations.
Very good question, Phyllis.
Hospitals.
Here in the UK, we have the NHS, the National Healthcare Service, and it is very difficult to get into working with them. But a couple of years ago, after having seen the news of the staff shortages everywhere and the waiting lists were getting much, much longer, I decided to do something about it and started working towards developing an app which helps international healthcare workers to come here into the UK and get a job. So I reached out to a few recruitment agencies that deal with international healthcare workers, and they were like, let me know when this is available. We love the idea. And even, do you want me to sign something to help you to raise investment for this? And so they're on board. They're ready to work with us when the app is ready as well. Because, yeah, Phyllis, I know the healthcare system in the US, has many different challenges to the UK. But
I'll just tell you that working in hospitals, in marketing departments in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, very diverse communities.
Right.
A lot of Spanish-speaking folks in one of the hospitals that I worked in, and I actually helped bring English classes to the some of the employees so they could train other employees to communicate better with patients and families.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So here in the UK, 2016, we had the Brexit decision where we left the EU.
Right.
And then in 2017, the Conservative government increased the IELTS requirement, the score that people need to pass to get a visa here in the UK. Native English speaking people cannot pass this benchmark without a lot of study and financial means. It's the same English level you need to prove to do an MBA at Warwickshire University.
One of the main challenges that students face when it comes to public speaking is fear of public speaking. They may be attending a class that could be online or in person now after COVID. So they'll say, I'm just afraid to get up and speak, but I have to do it because it's a public speaking class. So I'm going to have to get up and stand in front of this audience, in front of the rest of the class and give a speech. And so I work with them on that because that's my background. It's in public speaking, and I've taught public speaking at universities.
Wonderful.
So I love that. That's my love. It's really just the public speaking part of it.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Oh, I'd love to see that. Yeah. Often, people fear what they haven't done yet. That's the main thing. If they don't know what to expect, But also, you know, there's always a bit of nerves when you need to perform in front of people. But I find the more you do it, the more practice you get in a safe space, the more comfortable you'll feel when it's time to do it for real.
And that's one of the things that I try to do is encourage them that I know it's scary, but it's going to be okay. And I'm going to support you and the rest of the class. We're all going to support you. We're all in this together. So I don't want you to feel as if you're just alone and just terrified, because it's going to be okay. I'm going to help make it okay for you and for others. And not only that, when you leave this class, you'll be really glad that you learned what you learned. And you'll be a happier person interpersonally and at work, because you can communicate more effectively.
Wonderful, Phyllis. Yeah. I think another point is with public speaking as well, and to try and remember the audience want you to succeed. They want you to be comfortable. They want you to do well.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And they're all rooting for you in that regard, aren't they? Yeah.
Exactly. They're not taking notes to say, oh man, why did she do that? Or she did that. That's not good. They want you to succeed. They want to see you be successful. And they're putting themselves in your shoes, because they know when it's their turn, they're going to be facing the same thing, the same anxieties, maybe.
They're thinking, thank goodness it's not me up there. Right off.
Yeah, eventually it will be them, though.
Yeah. With practice, yeah. Yeah, exactly. So you can imagine there the communication and public speaking challenges that people face when it's just a skill they want to develop. But organizations that are doing good in the world really have a problem, mostly really communicating that message, you know, especially if it's a charity or an NGO or, you know, a not-for-profit organization. Very little budget and training goes on really communicating their message well. And therefore it ends up going on like advertising, which isn't, it's not as personable, it's not as personalized, and it's not as effective. But watching someone talk about something with passion, that really helps to further a cause like nothing else, I think.
And that messaging, effective messaging, is written and oral. So public speaking, it's all connected.
Okay, see you later. Bye.
Bye, Jules.
Thanks for coming. Okay, yeah, so I just wanted to share this with you then. So part of being an ethical business is having transparent pricing. So just to explain what our program is, the cost per group, and that's up to 8 participants per group, is £5,000. It was the same price last year when we did the pilot program. I've kept it at the same price this year because it still is a fledgling program, and it's important to us that the participants and the organizations help to develop this even further and better. The price per person per session is then equivalent to £13.50. So I think it's about $15 per hour, with all of the pre and post work that is done, all the homework, and all of the, taking into account all of the time that we spend creating these courses as well. So you will not find training that cheap or like this in general anywhere else online. So I wanted to offer you guys a little a special discount. So firstly, if you or your organization or the organization that you work for is interested, then there's a 10% discount available per group. And because you guys are what we call early adopters, that means people who are first to really sort of embrace a new concept or a new offer. We're also offering, excuse me, my voice is finally giving up on me, an affiliate link. So it's a special link which is unique to you. And that link, then, if you were to give that to an organization and say, I recommend that you look into this, and you book a consultation with Lorraine, then if they use that link to then sign up, you get £500. for each referral, for each group. So there's a huge, that's about $620, I think, now.
I can help you.
Oh, brilliant. That's good to hear, Phyllis. That's good. Okay, so can you see that QR code on the screen there? That you want to, if you scan that with your smartphone, if you open up your smartphone camera and you scan that QR code, then that will give you the email address, or alternatively, I can just share that with you. Yeah. hello@intrepidenglish.co.uk. I'm sending it to you in the chat. If you just send me an email, then I'll get that affiliate link set up for you. Same for you, Noor, and whoever's watching this recording later. You can use this QR code or use that email address. Send me an email, and I'll send you your unique affiliate link, which you can give to organizations you think might be interested. And when they sign up, you get that affiliate commission within 30 days of them signing up. Because we're all about the early adopters here. We're all about developing and getting feedback and improving. So the price of this is going to increase, because we've grown as a company over the last 10 years, predominantly through word of mouth, through happy students making such progress, feeling really supported and enjoying the process, and sometimes being surprised when all of a sudden they can understand something or they can do something that they couldn't before, and they tell their friends and their family about it, and then their friends and family come and join us. So we know what powerful advertising word of mouth can be, and that's why that is still our preferred method of getting the word out.
I don't have any questions, but thank you for your presentation and everything.
Thank you, Noor. That's very kind of you. It's really kind of you to give me your attention as well for an hour and a quarter.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Enjoyed it.
Oh, did you? Great. I hope so too. And I enjoyed having you involved, Phyllis. Thank you so much for your questions and for your comments as well.
It was great. I'm really glad that you guys offer these services, because there are so many organizations that need these services.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there is a huge demand there, a huge demand. And the thing is, everyone wins when it comes down to it. So thank you, Phyllis. All right. Well, that's us for today then. Thank you for joining. Please feel free to send me an email. I'm going to send everyone an email with the recording of the webinar and all of the sources that I cited during the talk as well. And please feel free to stay in touch as well if you have any questions.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Take care. Have a lovely weekend.
You too.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.